What's going on, invaders? I'm Kirsty the Valkyrie, and welcome to Trashgasm, your weekly exploitation review. I'm here with Jake Noose and DJ Hodaddy, and this week we're going to be talking about Ginger Snaps. This is a 2000 Copper Heart Entertainment release, one that I actually found out about on Tumblr when I found a GIF, as it is pronounced, of a teen girl whose body was impaled on a white picket fence, flipping off the camera. I didn't know what it was called back then, but here I am 4 years later, and I finally found out it's Ginger Snaps, so we had to watch this one. So in this movie, we have a death-obsessed teen who is bitten by an unknown beast that ends up being a werewolf. And this causes her to morph into a confrontational slut bag who gets increasingly hairy, and it's up to her little sister to try and stop her transformation from progressing. So, Hodaddy, tell me your thoughts on Ginger Snaps.
I felt like this movie, all in all, was more evidence that redheads are never to be trusted. The highlight for me, I think, was the actresses. I felt like in the beginning I wasn't really feeling it. They were a little too angsty, a little bit too dry, and just I just wasn't feeling it. But then as it went on, they got a lot better, and I felt like they were really convincing with some of the scenes. I felt like it would have been really easy to go over the top, but I felt like their stuff was pretty convincing. I also liked a lot of the prosthetic transformation stuff, the spine, the attack sequences, and all that. The biggest flaw I felt like was just the beginning, where it was really slow, and I just wasn't feeling the characters. I was just not feeling that. But yeah, like I said, as it went on, it got a lot better. Overall, I gave this one 3 out of 5 sandbox surprises.
Nice.
Sandbox surprise.
How did you feel about this one?
So, for me, this movie was a perfect hybrid of Joe Dante's The Howling mixed with Jamie Babbitt's But I'm a Cheerleader. It's an awesome horror...
But I'm a cheerleader.
You never seen
I don't know what that's from.
I don't know what that is.
The one about the lesbian cheerleaders?
No.
Oh, well, that's going to be a future Trashgasm. Just letting you guys know. So, this is a fun take on a coming-of-age movie. It's got awesome comedy in it, but it's also got lots of horror in it. So, instead of this whole blossoming into a woman thing, which that is a heavy factor in this movie, it's also a blossoming into a werewolf thing, which is gross. But it's a really fun mix of horror, comedy. The flaw for me in this movie, though, was the actual werewolf itself. I mean, call me a traditionalist, but I love my werewolves to be hairy and nasty. I want them to look like something you pull out of the shower drain. Like, I want them gross. But it was still a pretty cool werewolf, so I won't discount this one. Overall, it was so much fun to watch this movie. It actually had one of my favorite lines in movie history ever. Jesus Christ on a bicycle! I can't laugh while saying it. I can't not laugh while saying it. Overall, I give it 5 out of 5 exploding red pens. How about you, Jake?
I loved this movie so much. I was totally blown away. One of the things about this movie is I didn't know anything about it going into it. Kirsty, she said, hey, we're going to watch Ginger Snaps for this Trashgasm. And I said, okay. Didn't do any research on it. Didn't watch the trailer. Didn't look anything up. Just hit play. It said go. And so I didn't even realize it was a werewolf movie until like 30 minutes in when I saw the monster attack the girl. And I didn't even know at that point in time that it was a werewolf, you know, because it happened really quick.
Fast,
it was kind of, you weren't supposed to see the werewolf yet. But so that caught me off guard. I love that aspect of it. So if you're watching this review, sorry, just you're not going to have the same experience that I did. But bring your friends with you, and don't tell your friends about what this movie's about, and make sure they don't know anything about it beforehand. But overall, if I had to describe this movie, there's a scene in The Toxic Avenger when Melvin, the main character who becomes the Avenger, right after he gets doused in the toxic waste, he runs home and he's in the bathroom. He runs home and he goes in the bathroom and he's like in the shower and he's like, oh, and he's melting and mutating and everything. And his mom comes up and she's knocking on the door and saying, Melvin, are you okay? Are you okay in there? And so there's that teenage similarity with that going on when something much more monstrous is going on. And so I'd say, if I had to describe it, it's that scene with, to the left of that scene from Toxic Avenger is Pumpkinhead. And then to the right of that scene is is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV series.
It's a very good mix.
Yeah, so there's a lot of that thing where adults don't really know what these kids are going through at the point of time, and I love the way they depicted that. I resonated with the characters. I know Ho Daddy didn't, but I resonated a lot with it. For one, you know, I ended up going to the principal's office for my art projects, as these girls did too. So I automatically liked them right after that. The strengths of this movie, there's three ones. I love this movie. I know I already said this, but
fangirl.
One, director of photography, cinematography in this movie was awesome. Totally caught me off guard. I was expecting a much more low budget kind of stuff, and nope, it was top notch. So either Tom Best or Gavin Smith, not sure which one of you is actually credited on this because different sources say different things, but whoever did it, great job. That was awesome. Secondly, the depiction of the egotistical, depressed 15-year-old, you know, like, the way they pulled that off, I thought was awesome. It was perfect. It had to have been written by somebody who was in the exact same shoes when that was going on. And then thirdly, the greatest strength about this movie is it did come out in 2000, which was during the hype of CGI. And CGI in the late 90s and early 2000s, it's still pretty awful. It's still pretty awful, you know, in 2014. But these people went the opposite direction. They zagged when everybody was zigging, and they stuck with practical effects on everything in this movie, which I loved about that. So, way to go with the practical effects, you guys. Loved this movie. The flaws, though, the cover of this movie sucks.
Yeah.
It's awful. If you look at the cover of this, you probably won't want to watch it based off of that. And then secondly, there was a lot of that horror movie logic that came into the end of it when, you know, the final scene was going on. You know what I'm talking about. Horror movie logic. Just
There's
didn't make
something
sense.
dark over there. I'm going to go take a look.
Don't go in there!
Yeah.
No! But overall, I again loved this movie. Completely caught me by surprise. A lot of these aspects of it. So bring it to a friend. Don't tell them what it's about. Overall, I give this movie 6 out of 5 conveniently knowledgeable drug dealers.
Awesome. So, after watching this movie and all of the knowledge we have about werewolves now, if you were bitten, what would you do?
Well, I for one, I'd probably find a gypsy camp. Because the gypsy camp, they're either going to cure me or they're going to feed me with their bodies. So the other.
Logic.
Nice.
Oh, Daddy?
I would have to do the only rational thing, and I would bust out the Thriller. What else?
You'd have the perfect look for it.
Yeah, what else
There
could you
you go.
do?
Personally, I'm boring. I'm going to the hospital. Lop off that limb, take it away. I don't want that in my system. So that concludes our Trashgasm for the week, and we would like to know from you, if you happen to be bitten by a werewolf, what you would do. So, yeah, that concludes Trashgasm for this week. We'll take any movie recommendations you guys have. Until next week, join us again when we'll be talking about Eaten Alive. And, yeah, I'm sure Stu the Valkyrie reminding you to keep it trashy.